Lola, okay. Lola has joined. Okay. So Lola, Aworanti-Ekugo, Chief Digital Officer, FBN Quest, we have been waiting for you. Now that you're online, can you please unmute yourself and give us your college experience?
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. So sorry. I've had just a very busy morning, so I'm just, rushing to do this, but it's a pleasure to be here. And just amongst fellow alumni. Can you hear me properly? Okay, good. So my journey really was for the MBA experience. And I usually say it's one of the best decisions that I made as an individual. I was already, so I'd studied in the UK, done my first degree. I'd worked in the UK for about, probably about 13 years. I worked in the UK. I used to work in the financial services, which I still do. I worked for companies like BNP Paribas, Commerce Bank, Dresner Kleinwort, Investec Asset Management, all in the UK. And then I'd moved back to Nigeria with my husband. So we moved back to Nigeria, but I hadn't done an MBA. But I was looking for a job, and I thought, okay, I was looking at opportunities, and I could see that, I felt like there was a need for me to do another degree. Can you hear me? Fine. Okay. I felt there was a need for me to do another degree, and in addition to that, when I came back from my NYSC, when I came back to Nigeria, I did my NYSC at Lagos Business School. So I think that sort of really made me feel like, actually, I'm in Lagos Business School. I haven't done my MBA. I might as well go and do my MBA. So in Nigeria, I started looking for potential schools that I wanted to go to. Imperial College was on the table. London Business School was on the table as well. And of course, I was also looking in the US, but I sort of changed my mind. And so I think I just went into Imperial College. I hadn't been to Imperial College before, at least to study any courses. So I went in there. They had like some sort of taster event of what the MBA was like, would be like. There was a taster lecture. So I took my time. I went for that. Met a few people as well who were thinking about doing an MBA, and I think that was where I just felt like, look, this might just be the university for me. The pricing point was also making sense because I remember London Business School was, if I remember, it was like £100,000 or something like that at the time. And I thought Imperial College was a good institution, had a good background, a good history, and so it would be the one for me. So that was why I, decided to, do the Imperial College MBA. I don't know if I should keep talking or if that answers the question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I should carry on my journey. Sorry?
Your experiences, I want to hear more.
Okay. So I decided, okay, I was going to do the MBA, moved back from Nigeria to London. And I think that was very difficult because my family, husband, they're here, they were in Nigeria, and I moved to London to do the MBA. It was part-time. So I was actually working full-time at BNP Paribas. And then the weekend MBA was happening over the weekends and some evenings as well. And I remember it being one of the most difficult things that I had to do because it's not easy juggling work and school. I mean, it's not easy at all. So that really took a lot from me. But for me, I think the value that I got was more than I imagined, I would say. I think when I went into the MBA, it was more like, okay, I wanted to further my career. I was working at, as I said, BNP Paribas, but I wanted to sort of do something more exciting. I wanted to go deeply into the field of digital as well. So I was like, okay, let me do this MBA. So I went into school, as I said. The experience was really nice because there were people from all over the world. So my class was so diverse. I mean, we had people from all over Europe. We had people from Africa as well. Like there was a Nigerian as well in my class who was living in Abuja, and she was also coming every month for the MBA. We had people from America. So I think for me, being in a room filled with people who were so knowledgeable from different parts of the world, I think that was priceless, because you learn so much from people talking and just being in conversations. People from Ukraine. I mean, seriously, it was totally amazing. I didn't feel any, I think someone mentioned, was there any sort of racism or anything like that? I mean, personally, not for me. My class was really good. We had our syndicate groups. I think it was just really working hard and, being with people there. So I had that. And so I was in the UK for that full year during the first year of my MBA. But I think towards the end of that first year, I realized that, okay, I don't have to actually wait for my MBA to finish before I start looking at opportunities outside. So I wanted to take a turn in my career, or take it a notch higher. But most people will say, okay, when you finish your MBA, when you get your degree, then you now start looking for jobs towards the end, and then you then get your job. But I didn't do that. So like towards the end of my first year, in fact, I remember I was online just looking out for the opportunities, my next move and all of that. And I even updated my LinkedIn, updated my CV, all of that. And I just shared it around. And I started getting people from Nigeria reaching out to me on opportunities to head different digital arms or different digital units. So I had, at the time, First Bank, I had Stanbic IBTC, I had, what's their name? Sahara as well. So I hadn't finished the MBA. I just updated my CV. I felt more confident that, look, what is it that people are doing? There's nothing I can't do. I've already learned so much. So I updated my CV, it was out there, and people started contacting me, for the roles that I was after, even without completing the MBA, So I was already interviewing, and by the end of my first year of my MBA, I already had those 3 offers. So I then had the opportunity to then take my pick as to what job I wanted. At the time, the one that interested me the most was the head of digital and innovation labs. They were setting up a new lab in First Bank, Nigeria. And so I just decided that was the opportunity that I wanted to go for. And I moved back during the MBA and started shuttling back from Nigeria to London for the remaining of the MBA. But as I said, the MBA for me was just one of the best things I did. Just that update of my CV with the MBA, honestly, it's, people were able to see me more, or were more interested in my CV. Not that I wasn't good before, but it obviously took it a notch higher. For me as a person, I got to meet so many people from different places who were really intelligent. It also challenged me. I learned so much. My class, we also went to, we did some field trips to, we did a field trip to Vietnam and Cambodia. And, went to factories there, learned about the technology ecosystem. Honestly, when I finished the MBA, I was a new person, a new, better version of myself. So it's something I would definitely recommend to people to do, if, of course, that's the direction you want to go. But I thought it was a great decision for me.
Okay, before we let you go, I was just going to ask you, okay, so now you're back, you work with First Bank. What do you think will be the best route to give back to Nigeria, based on your experience? And what is it that you think the alumni should be looking at in terms of giving back to Nigeria?
Okay. I think there's a lot we can do as alumni. Alumni, of course, we are a strong association of knowledgeable people who have had great experiences and are also doing great things, I guess, in Nigeria. I think we can come together to do things like, set up mentorship, like mentorship cohorts, perhaps, where a couple of us can, mentor people who are, looking for, looking to grow in their careers, perhaps. With the knowledge we've gained internationally, globally, I think that, if there are people who are interested in coming on board as mentors and mentees, I think we should be able to do that and help groom some of them. I do some of that work myself with She Leads Africa and a couple of others. And I know recently with Imperial College, they did, there was one event, I think, I'm trying to remember the name, but I think it was Global GLU. It was like a combination of a lot of universities, and they were doing some startup programs, and they were sort of creating ideas, and a couple of, I know there was a call out for, it was actually all over the world. So they were calling out for, mentors, so I think we should position ourselves as, an organization that we're available to provide expertise, an association that's available to provide expertise, in that sense, and be mentors to people who need it. I think we should also be promoters of Imperial College, especially if it's had a good impact in your life. So, there are people who are considering going to the school, or who are, who are just a little bit interested. I think, we should be promoters of that, where, people can reach out to the Alumni Association here to find out about, any advice they need. We can do that. For people who are also doing the MBA in UK and are thinking of coming back, I think we can position ourselves to be a point of contact, to help guide and, provide recommendations where possible, so that, they can also find opportunities back home and, settle in here if they choose to as well. So I think those are some of the things we can do. I'm sure there's more, but those are some of them.
Okay, I'm sure this is going to be recorded. And so most of those things you said, the secretary is here, the president is here, and they're writing them down for implementation. We'll be speaking with Lola Aworanti-Ekugo, Chief Digital Officer at BNQuest. Thank you so very much. You've been fantastic. Please don't go anywhere. Yeah, a round of applause from the studios. People are clapping for you, okay?
Thank you.
If you're online, let's have some of the experiences as well. If you're still online, can I have some names online? So we can have some of these experiences. Fisayo.